Hello everybody, this is Tip Top MTG here today doing a gameplay review of how I did during the Heliod Immortal Sun event. So for those of you who don't know what this event is, I did an entire video breaking that down, so check that out in the card right here. But basically I built a mono white deck that cares all about things that cost basically one generic mana, or like things that care about artifacts. So it's basically an artifact deck that runs a lot of 1 mana artifact creatures. And the reason I do this is because the Immortal Sun reduces the cost of all things by 1 colorless, which generally just makes things cheaper. But if it doesn't cost any colored mana, you can basically get things for free. So I use that to take advantage of a lot of cards and get a very quick start. On top of that, I'm able to use cards like Mystic Forge and all that glitters in order to gain advantage from having a ton of artifacts. Alright, so why don't we jump right into the gameplay. Alright, so getting into this first game, I'm really looking for a hand that has a lot of 1-drops so I can just win on like turn 3. And this has absolutely no creatures. So I decided to mulligan it. And here I can get rid of Unbreakable Formation. I don't really think that's that important. Now, here what I'm able to do is play Gingerbrute turn 1, who will be a 2-2. So I can basically 4-0 hit him for 2. But then I pull All That Glitters. So Gingerbrute is an artifact himself, so All That Glitters is going to give him +2/+2. So on turn 1, I have a 4/4 Haster. That's going to get stronger as I play more creatures. Now, unfortunately, he blows it up with Mortify. That's very unfortunate, but whatever. I'm able to recover from it. We're drawing lots of cards per turn, and all I really need to do is get to Mystic Forge, because once that happens, I can just start playing 1-drops off the top of my deck for free and just keep doing that and doing that. And so it creates some really awesome value. And so this turn, I could either buff Shambling Suit or do this, and I decided to do this, and you'll notice here I get to play Lockthwain Gargoyle, Bag of Holding, and then I run into a land. And what I'm able to do is just pay 1 life and get rid of the land, and then I get Glass Casket, which unfortunately I can't cast, but if he plays any creatures that I should be worried about, I can just get rid of them. I'll be able to basically kill him, hopefully next turn, because Shambling Suit will start to get more and more powerful, and I'll be able to hit him for 9. And at this point, he just starts casting Shadow Spears, and I have no idea why. My only thought is that he has something that cares about, like, escape. But I'm not sure. I think at this point, he's just trying to cast spells. But here, you'll notice I get Gingerbrute. I get All That Glitters, so I'm able to put that on him. And then I'm able to get rid of his Bone Crusher Giant. So at this point, I've won the game. I decided to show off a little bit, casting Seal Overs here, but then he concedes. So whatever. That is my first win of the event. I managed to get Reverent Hoplite, and I'm like, wait a second, I'm not using the right planes here. And so I switch over all of my planes, which is honestly quite annoying. They should probably fix that. And they said they were doing that in the last day of the game, so that's good. But either way, jumping into the next game. Again, I'm looking for a hand with a bunch of low-cost creatures. Ideally, it'd be fun to get a hand that you can just play everything. And then I'm like, wait, I'm in the wrong game. And I literally joined a standard event. Now, what this video is meant to be is kind of just showing you how I did in the event, but it's also a kind of guide to this deck. And so if you want to see the deck, please see the link in the description. There it will be a link to that on MTG Goldfish, and there'll be a link to my website where I have every single deck I've built this since Theros has been released, and like a little description and all that. But this hand overall is pretty good. We have Bag of Holding, Inquisitive Puppet, and All That Glitters. So turn 1 we have a 4/6. Which is pretty good, and next turn I'll draw the Mystic Forge, I'll have Glass Casket for removal, I have Shambling Suit to be another really strong creature, and of course he casts Mire's Grasp, and that actually doesn't kill Inquisitive Puppet, so I let it resolve, I didn't sacrifice the puppet, and at this point, he kind of just reset what my All That Glitters did, but he'll still slowly grow. It's kind of a setback, but it's fine. And at this point, now he has to deal with both Shambling Suit and the puppet, which both get stronger as I'm casting artifacts. Now, he plays Hateful Spectre, and it's supposed to make things that are enchanted. He gets to draw cards whenever they die, but I'm able to sacrifice him and make him a 1/1. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't trigger. Someone please explain the rules. I thought sacrificing was the same thing as dying, but you know what? I need to read exactly what both of them say to really tell you why that didn't happen. Either way, I play a Mystic Forge, and I have a Plains on top of my library. I decided to exile it. Again, I can't Glass Casket, and I know that he's going to be able to look at my hand next turn. And at this point, he's not going to take a Mystic Forge, so either he's going to take All That Glitters or Glass Casket. I'm hoping he takes Glass Casket, because I know I have another one coming. Also, All That Glitters is what I win with. Also, Bag of Holding is going to recover the item he makes me get rid of. So in the end, even if he did take something really important, I could get it back. Unfortunately, he plays Underworld, or the Dreams card, which punishes me for drawing cards. This was the other idea for a deck I thought about building, was punishing people for drawing cards, using cards like Obnixilis. However, I decided this would be a little more fun, and I agree, this deck is extremely fun. Unfortunately, I keep running into lands, but then I get Inquisitive Puppet, which allows me to scry, which allows me to throw that land on the bottom, which runs me into Scrambling Suit. But either way, I decided to play All That Glitters on Gingerbrute for one simple reason. I can basically make him unblockable. So I'm able to turn him into a 16/16 unblockable and win the game. That's the kind of insanity that can happen when you reduce the cost of things by 1. And then, I get a pack, and you have to open packs as you get them. I mean, you shouldn't, like, if you're going to draft, do that, but I'd rather just not draft. I'd rather open packs. I draft occasionally, but not very often. Either way, jumping into this next game, we are playing against someone named Candyman. And so this hand is pretty good. We have some removal. I have Inquisitive Puppet. So, I have Chamber Sentry on top. I decide to throw him on the bottom. He's just a cheap artifact that I can get out. But he's playing mono red. Now, luckily, my 1/3 can block is 2/2, so he's not going to be able to attack. I really don't want him to cast another Fervent Champion. That would be a nightmare. It would just make everything worse. So I decided to exile it, and now I'm getting Steel Overseer. So this game's going very different. Instead of just rushing, hitting him out the gate with All That Glitters, I'm doing a Steel Overseer approach where my creatures are going to get bigger and bigger each turn. Now, he plays Dreadhorde, the Dreadhorde card, and honestly, I felt like he should have attacked because I probably wouldn't have blocked. But whatever, I play Mystic Forge, which was kind of a hard choice. I mean, it wasn't a hard choice, but like, I really wish I could cast something else, but I was able to basically get out an army of cards, and each of these are going to get stronger. Now, what he does here is kind of surprising. So he blocks with the 2/2. Now, what I think he's planning on doing is killing it and then using it to shoot the Steel Overseer, but I boost everything up, so now he uses the excess damage to kill the guy, so that's fine. I'm completely happy trading with that. That card could get devastating. So that works out well. And then he concedes, realizing that I have an army, and that army is just going to keep growing. So overall, this event is very crazy. Now I get Heliod, and I decided, you know what, I want to play this one more time. I didn't get 15 wins this week so far. I love playing MTG Arena, but I just don't have time to get 15 wins every day. Yet alone, I get 15 wins every week, but sometimes I have to do it last minute. This hand is okay, but I decided since it doesn't have creatures, I'm not going to play it. Here I have Lochthwain Gargoyle and Steel Overseer. And so on turn 1, I'm able to play the Gargoyle. I'm able to play Shadow Spear, and I'm able to play Steel Overseer. And then I decide, you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to bring out Stonecoil Serpent, because Steel Overseer will slowly start to boost him up. And that's more efficient than burning a bunch of mana on a future turn. So at this point, I have a pretty good lineup. Now, he's a 4/4. Obviously, my Lochthwain Gargoyle is going to be able to block that 4/4 next turn, so I don't really have to worry about it. I decided to spend my mana for the turn to put this on Stonecoil Serpent. And the reason I do that is, first off, it's lifelink, which could be nice. It also boosts it up another one, and it allows me to just not have a useless card on board. I could have played the other Steel Overseer, but I mean, I don't think I really need to at this point. I'm able to boost things up, and now this turn, what I'm able to do is I'm able to play Mystic Forge, and I'm able to play Bag of Holding. I'm able to activate this ability to get rid of one, and I run into the dead end wall, unfortunately. I would have loved to have been able to cast that All That Glitters, throw that on the Stonecoil Serpent, and, get all that lifelink. But he plays Illison Caryatid, which apparently I just fell asleep on the keyboard at this one. Generally I try to be a fast player, but either way, he gets to put a +1/+1 counter on him, and then he plays the Great Henge, all this craziness. And so at this point, he's going to start healing. So that means I need to really start going in and getting damage. And then he plays Questing Beast, which is an utter nightmare for me because it has Death Touch. It doesn't matter how big my creatures get, because they're just going to block it and it'll die. And at this point, I think he's going to attack, but he doesn't. He doesn't seem to like to attack. And so what I decided to do is start casting things off the top of my library. And the reason I sent that to the bottom is because I wanted to get this giant streak. Now, I do get Glass Casket, which unfortunately cannot hit Questing Beast, but it can hit Yorvo. He is a 3-cost. And so here I'm able to cast Steel Overseer and all that glitters. And so now I have a 17 set or an 18/18 trample lifelink. I decide to attack with that. Now I know I'm going to lose it because he's going to block with his 6/6, but I'm fine with that. But then he doesn't. I don't know why. I don't know what he has with this questing beast and why he thinks he needs to save it so much. That would have been a wonderful time to get rid of both Stone Coil Serpent and the All That Glitters, but whatever. Because now I get to gain 18 life twice. But something tells me he might not need the win or something. I don't know. He's been making some very questionable gameplay choices here. Overall, I think I'm going to win this game, and I do. Now, I was actually worried for a while that I was going to lose that game because he had just really big creatures, and I didn't know if I could handle that. You know, I was able to get big creatures in the end, and he didn't make the smartest play choices. But overall, I think that the deck works really well. I didn't lose a game, which is very surprising. Overall, really fun deck. Check it out in the description down below. If you guys enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.